Sarah Mitchell is the Education Minister in New South Wales. Now, she today came out with the Premier and announced what is both the system that is going to be in New South Wales, but essentially it's exactly the same system that's going to work in Victoria. Now, of course, New South Wales are not in charge of Victoria, just they're going to work with the same system. That basically means schools stay open, no matter what. See how this goes. But no matter what, schools stay open when it comes to COVID. Now, here's the question. Rapid antigen tests are the way that that's going to work, and millions of them are apparently being stored by the schools and will be given to the kids. And no, not teachers, but you, the parent, will be doing the little swizzle stick before they can go to school.
So parents will get notified from their principal or teacher how to pick them up in preparation of school starting. But we're supplying them all. Parents don't need to worry about buying them or accessing them. It will all be made available to them from their school.
All right, so kids do these things at home. Their parents are the ones who do it. It's not something that's happening before you can walk into a classroom.
That's right. So we're doing them at home. We're suggesting you do it twice a week. So, maybe a Monday or a Wednesday. We obviously want students to do it before they come back to school for the first day of day one, term one as well, and then twice weekly. It's surveillance testing, and as the name suggests, it's really just to monitor, pick up any cases that might be there in kids that we don't know about, particularly because kids can be asymptomatic when they have COVID. And so that will be done at home with families. And of course, if they test negative, then come to school, that's great. If you happen to test positive, we obviously want you to tell the school, and we also want you to let health know through Service New South Wales app. So similar to what you or I would do, Paul, if we had a positive rapid antigen test at home.
All right, so what happens if there's 10, 20, 30, 50 kids in a school that have got COVID on any one day?
Well, obviously those children will need to stay at home, and we want them to look after themselves. But if they're feeling well, there will be work online that they can do, and their teachers will let them know. But the school will stay open. We're not closing anymore for positive cases. We're not doing contact tracing because we're really trying to move schools in line with community settings. As a parent, you'll get notified if there's COVID in your school community, if your child's year group, there's been cases again. So you can monitor for symptoms with your kids, use the rapid antigen test to, check to make sure that they're okay. But we are really shifting from where we were in term 4 last year, where we did see a lot of disruption with positive cases. We need to move on. We need to learn to live beside the virus and make schools work. And that's why we're shifting to this approach, which I think is sensible. This has all been ticked off with New South Wales Health. It's in line with what we're seeing in the community now. And as a parent, it's what we want. Learning from home is hard. It doesn't work well for anybody. Our kids need the routine. They need to be back at school, not just for their education, but their social and emotional well-being and everything that comes with it. So that's why we're really confident with this plan. And we think the rapid antigen tests will give parents comfort to know that they can use that effectively to screen their kids and make sure that they're not positive inadvertently.
Even at the end of last year, parents weren't able to go to things like presentation days. How normal will those things be from term 1? Is school sport normal? Is canteen duty normal? All of those things that aren't the obvious about the reading and writing at school.
Yeah, so a lot of our co-curricular activities will be able to go ahead. So things like music, drama, sport, in a COVID-safe way. And they're similar to some of the settings we had in place before when we've managed this, doing things outside where possible, not mixing year groups together. But we know that those activities and events are important. The swimming carnival is important. Having your mum or dad come and do canteen matters. It's something that we enjoy as parents, and our kids like that as well. So in a COVID-safe way, yes, if you're coming on to volunteer, to be at the canteen or help with reading group, the parents will need to be fully vaccinated. And we're also saying for kindergarten orientation, which is a really big day for children when they start school, that we can have up to 2 family members on site for that. So we are trying to do this as best as we can, still having those COVID smart and sort of COVID safe settings, but trying to make it as normal as possible as we can for our kids.
Yeah, I just had an interesting question. A mate of mine just texted me to say, okay, let's imagine your kid does get COVID and they're out, or you want to keep them back for whatever reason, home isolation because you've got it or something else. Obviously, the teacher in the classroom is already teaching the 30 kids that are in the classroom. Will you be looking at something that's sort of the standard year 7 online learning where there's like a teacher paid to be sort of the standby teacher for everyone who's not in a classroom? Take us through the practical side, because obviously the normal teacher won't be doing classroom and internet at the same time, will they?
No, so that's right. So what we've done over the break is really improved our online learning system. So we had quite a good amount of feedback from parents and families with the learning from home period. They liked it, but there was a little bit of difference in terms of what schools would offer. So what we've done is actually come up with an online module that would be launched in time for when school returns, which has everything that you'd need from kindergarten through to year 10, and there's a separate HSC study hub. But it literally has 10 weeks worth of lessons for, year 2 English, year 4 maths, year 5 PDHPE, in really simple modules. We've had staff record those lessons, so there'll be online tutorials available to be played. There'll be work that you can do, that you can print out, that you can access with your device, or if you have issues with connectivity, the school can then provide to you. So we've spent a lot of time getting that right, because as you say, we know that there will be kids who are caught up in this. If they get COVID and they're sick, then we want them just to look after themselves until they get well. But if they're a household contact and they're feeling fine, there's work that they'll be able to do online for that week of school that they'll miss. And again, parents will get all that advice from their school principal or teacher, just so that we can keep that continuity of education going